Hi everyone, we're making a fascinator today. For this we'll be needing crinoline, UHU, some beads and our wire, which I have already wrapped with paper tape. Then you also need some needle and thread because we will be stitching. Alright, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is put my already wrapped wire into my fascinator base. By the way, that fascinator base is made out of paper mats, and I already have a video of how to mold your paper mat fascinator. This was not dyed at all, it's cream colored, and my intention is to use this for someone who wants to do a registry wedding, so that's why it wasn't dyed. So the next thing is I'm going to be putting UHU right at that spot round. I'm not stitching the wire today. I'm just going to be using UHU to glue my wire into my fascinator base. That's the edge of my fascinator base. Okay, so after you're done doing that, you know, for UHU to be very effective, you don't glue it immediately. You have to wait a little bit for it to get dried. Almost dried actually. So when it's almost dried, it's time for you to now put your wire into your fascinator base, just like I'm doing in the video. Okay, so that wire is almost in. Watch closely please. Ensure that you don't pull too much so you don't deshape your fascinator base. Alright, so that wire is in now. All I'm going to be doing is just pressing the edge down onto the fascinator base so that the wire is hidden. And that's how it's done. Okay, so I fixed that wire in. I'm just pressing to ensure that it's tight. Let's go to the next step. I'm here again. So I'm going to fold that crinoline into two. Remember, we're using a big crinoline, and then I'm going to put the tip together. I'm going to gather the tip and then I'm going to tie it round. Can you see the motion of my hands? Tie it round. Alright, this is one that I already did before I started the recording. Okay, can you see? Now I have folded the crinoline into two and I've tied the mouth. So I'm just going to use my needle and thread and ensure that I tighten it very, very well before I put my UHU gum on that tip of the crinoline. Watch closely please. Don't forget, if you have any questions, I am here for you. Okay, so that's tight. Next step is to apply a generous helping of UHU gum to the tip of that crinoline, because you know crinoline is horsehair, so you need to ensure that it's gathered together. Alright, so after I'm done applying my UHU, I have to wait for it to be a little bit dried, because UHU is stronger when it's a little bit dried. So let's chill and wait. Now our UHU is almost dry, so I'm just going to use my fingers and just, you know, roll just a little. Ensure that your fingers are clean though when you're doing this. So roll until it's pointy and then you're done. Once you have gotten that pointy part, you can flip your fascinator over and start your stitching. The first thing I'm going to do is stitch that tip to my fascinator base to ensure that it's really, really tight and firm before I continue stitching round. And for me to do that, I'm going to sew it onto the fascinator base and flip over the front. Now when I put my needle back, I'm going to put it very close to the part where it came out, because we don't want the stitch spreading. By the way, I'm using fishing line for my stitching. Yeah, fishing line with needle and thread. So watch closely and see what I'm doing. Now I have tacked the tip of my crinoline to my fascinator base. I want to start stitching that crinoline now. Ensure that your crinoline is joined together equally. Let one part not be smaller than the other part before you start your stitching. So now I'm about to start my stitching. Watch very closely. It's really very simple. It's not so hard. So watch. Okay, so my needle is out. Now the next thing I'm going to do is take a piece of the pearl beads. So I'm taking one of the pearl beads and I'm going to pass it through my needle and then sew it onto the fascinator base. I need you to understand that when you're sewing on the top of the fascinator base, ensure that your stitches are very close, they're not too far apart, so people don't see your thread. But on the inner parts, you can stitch as far apart as you want to. So watch closely. I hope you can see it very well, and I hope it's really easy to understand. But if you have any questions, just holler at me on the group and I'll answer your questions. Thank you so much for watching the video. Alright, so I have passed my needle through the fascinator base. I'm just trying to arrange that pearl so that it looks beautiful. Okay, so just keep watching and see what I'm doing. Alright guys, so all I'm just trying to do is ensure that that pearl bead that I stitched onto my fascinator base is sitting properly. Once I'm sure about that, I'm going to flip the fascinator over and continue stitching. You need to bear in mind that if you don't hold crinoline down to stitch, it will unravel and you just your work wouldn't be neat. So you have to ensure that every time you're stitching the crinoline around your fascinator base, you hold it together to ensure that both ends meet together, and then you continue your stitching. While I'm stitching the inside of my fascinator, I'm extending my stitch. The stitches are not very close to each other inside the fascinator, but once my needle comes out of the top of the fascinator base, I just ensure that when I put my bead in the needle, I put it close to where the sewing needle came out from. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, so just keep watching what I'm doing, and it's that simple. I'm just going to do this all the way round. I hope you find this tutorial helpful. I hope by now you already see what I'm doing. As you can see from the video, I have added 2 pearl beads to my fascinator base. I'm going to be adding pearl beads all around the fascinator whilst I'm stitching the crinoline to the fascinator base. So I'd like for you to watch this one more time while I go behind the cameras and finish up. Right, so as you sew the first 2 or 3 pearls and crinoline together, you'll realize that your crinoline is beginning to go out of shape. Now watch what I'm about to do to ensure that it's easy for me to sew. I'm going to fold. Just watch closely. Look at my hands. Can you see that? Can you see my hands? Yes. I'm going to fold like that so that it will be easy for my crinoline to go round and not stress me at all. So while I'm using my thumb to hold down that crinoline that I folded, I'm going to use the needle and thread to stitch. So this is exactly what you'll keep doing till you get to the start point on your fascinator base. Now let's do this in fast forward mode. And ta-da! Oh, yay. Don't mind me. Okay, so my fascinator is done and it looks really beautiful. So that's what the inside looks like. And that's what the outer part looks like. So I'm going to put that aside now because I want to make like a small crinoline, ripped crinoline something, you know, that I'm going to put at the back of the fascinator. So I'm just fraying the crinoline that I'll use, so just watch what I'm doing. For this part, I don't know how I'm going to explain this, but just watch, because first of all, I'm trying to like tear the crinoline, but I'm not tearing it completely. I'm pulling holes in it, pulling the thread out so that it will give it some, you know, when you have ripped jeans, that kind of effect. Yeah, I like that effect on crinoline. So that's exactly what I'm doing in the video. So just watch. If you like it, if you don't like it, you could just put a bow or some flowers or an ostrich quill or feather roses or even a leather flower, whatever you want, whatever suits you. But this is exactly what I want to use for this fascinator. So just watch what I'm doing. I'm sure you're going to like it. I'm done ripping my crinoline and I'm just cutting off the excess horsehair off of the crinoline. After I'm done, I'm going to show you how I attach this to that fascinator base. Watch. I'm going to take my needle and thread and just attach it probably from the middle, from the side. For this particular side, for this particular part of the video, you can do freeform. Freeform is just doing any particular thing, something you see worthy enough to put on your fascinator that looks beautiful. So you can freestyle with it. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm just using my needle and thread to gather it in the middle after crunching it or scrunching it up together. Once I'm done, I'm going to be attaching that to my fascinator base, and I'll also be adding 2 pearls to the middle of that scrunched crinoline. It's now time to add my scrunched crinoline to my fascinator base, but before I do that, I have to gather that part that I'm holding in my hands and attach it to the fascinator base too. So watch closely. I'm really sorry this video is very long, but it's very important that you see every step that I took to achieve that finish. So watch closely. I'm using a needle and thread to tack that crinoline, and I'm going to take it round, tie, then tack and stitch and tie. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Once I'm done, I'm going to just sew it and attach it to the fascinator base. That's simple, right? No stress, right? Now I'm done tacking that part, so I'm just tying up. Finishing touches. Now, and I'm also going to snip off the excess crinoline hair that is sticking out on the other side. Time for me to add that crinoline that I frayed earlier, the one that I pulled out some of the thread. So I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going to add it. For yours, you can put it wherever you want. The beauty of crinoline is it's a very versatile material and it can suit any headpiece that you're making. So I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to fix mine and where I'm going to fix it. Once you have figured out exactly where you want to fix that scrunched crinoline, all you do is just tack it. That's all I'm going to do. So I'm going to tack this and I'll come back and show you guys the finished look. Hey everyone, and that's a wrap. So the next step is to add our Alice band or elastic band. See you in the next. Alright, so I added some rhinestones to my fascinator cap, as you can see. So the next step is to line the inner part of your fascinator and then just add your Alice band and you're good to go. And that's exactly what I'm doing in this video. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial as much as I have enjoyed making this video for you. Don't forget, we have online classes in leather millinery. We also have classes in box making and fascinator making and also feather flower making. So if you want to be a part of any of our classes, you can just contact me with the WhatsApp number on your screen. And we'll get started from there. It's beautiful making lovely headwear and it's wonderful wearing it too. Okay guys, thank you so much for always supporting me, watching my videos. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share my video, and also turn on the notification bell down there. My name is Olufemi Adu. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.